We're going to test out a theory here. Check this out. Titan likes to bite stuff. He's in the kitten phase. He likes to play. But ow, buddy. But we're going to try something out and see if he digs this. We're going to see if he just likes attacking my arm. Oh, no, I already know the answer here. Yeah, you just like to fight. You just want to fight something. That's all it is. That's all it is, isn't it, buddy? you freaking silly, crazy chicken. You crazy chicken, Titan. Look at you go. Look at you go, buddy. Oh, man. I freaking love you, cat. You're wild. You are a wild. You won't stop. All right, I'm gonna leave this right here. You can go nuts. You can go nuts. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Trades. We freaking talk fast and don't skip class. I like to preface by saying that I'm not a financial advisor nor expert, so take what I say with a grain of salt. Let's get into the video. So today, my friends, my family, my fellow gorilla gang, we're gonna give you an update on ticker symbol AMC. And the reason I made yesterday's video, I called it "Be Ready for Tomorrow," was because of exactly this. Now, I thought that there was a chance you got to pop underneath 30 bucks here, but once it did drop down, that's where you got that gap fill zone, which could potentially get filled for the downside, right? I'm not here to bullshit people. I'm here to tell you guys what I think about the stock on any given day, and sometimes tell me what you think about a stock on a given day. Even if you're long-term bullish on it, means you're short-term bearish. And in the short term, right, the next 1-2 days, counting today, I was bearish because of exactly this. It was a technical breakdown. You have a gap fill for the downside that has to get filled along the way to where we want this thing to freaking go. So that's what we saw happen today. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown on what the technical analysis is kind of gearing towards, because this is nowhere near the end, right? This does not mean the stock is done. It just means that in the very short term, this is what you're looking at. This is a realistic picture, something you have to be ready for. So we're gonna go over the Ortex data. We're gonna go over the short volume percentage ratio, finish off with the technical analysis, and then we'll get you on your freaking way. Oh, and then I've got one more thing, actually. I have this this Reddit DD about the share count, kind of through voting through what AMC has put together. So we're gonna give you all these things, and we'll get you on your way, and you know, you can go find your own Titan. So without further ado, baby, let's get into this video. So I'm gonna start off here with the Ortex data, because we do have some good news here on the Ortex data. 1.65% short interest change. We had a net difference of 1.63 million shares borrowed into the market. If you're new to stocks, you're new to AMC, shorted shares are essentially the shares that are betting that the stock goes down, and you saw that increased today. 15.33% of the total free float, with about 500 million shares, is currently shorted into the market. 78 million shares total. Cost to borrow, which is an annualized interest rate, is still low, meaning that there's not a crazy amount of demand compared to the supply of the stock. When you see this sort of cost to borrow on any given security, it's probably because there's still available supply. So that means that there's still some ammunition for these guys to load up against these, against the apes and against the people out there who are holding the stock. So it's something that you can be ready for, and you'll know that you're getting closer when you see that cost to borrow start to go up. Cost to borrow will also reflect on the utilization rate. Utilization is the total amount of lended out shares compared to the total amount of lendable shares, meaning that out of all lendable shares, 90.41% of these are currently lended out or on loan in the market, which gives us 98.41 million, trending up about 0.5% from a week ago and up about 0.65% for utilization compared to a week ago. Short interest, about the same, up about 0.5% from a week ago. So that's kind of what you got cooking up. It hasn't done a lot different from what you've seen over the last week. Still in this sort of sideways trading. I wouldn't even call it that. It just was a pullback today. It just is what it is. But in terms of the data, doing this, right? Not a lot is changed on the data side of things. Sitting at that 15%-ish mark. Daily short sale volume percentage, I will have an updated number for you in tomorrow's update video. But yesterday, if you did not catch my video, I gave you the short volume percentage, which was 44%. So still pretty baseline, decent amount of shorting that's going into the market. And I anticipate, based on the fact that we were down 11% total on the day today, that you're going to have a pretty massive amount of shorting that took place, because there was that selling pressure there. That raises the ceiling. Keep that in the back of your mind. Anytime that you see a heavy amount of shorting, that's more people, more big freaking fat pigs that can get squeezed out of this bad boy. So watch for that. That's something to keep in the back of your mind. Now, I want to talk about this because this is actually pretty interesting. I've seen this idea circulating around based on essentially the voting system that's taking place that Adam Aaron put together. By the way, freaking genius. It's a great way to get an idea of the actual share count, if that's what his intentions was. I haven't spoken with him about it. I can't speak on that. But the geniusness behind this is incredible. Now, I've seen the idea based on essentially a 1,200 share average per person based on the people who have voted so far, that you have about 4 billion shares, but that's not the right way to analyze this, right? I do think the share count is higher just based on simple math, but I don't think it's about 4 billion shares or so. So I'm going to leave a link to this in the description box down below. If you want to check that out, feel free to do so. But a very intelligent guy, much more intelligent than me, put together some statistical analysis in terms of what the actual share count could be. This can be actual real proof right before your eyes of naked short selling, failure to delivers, and synthetic shares, which you can essentially think of as a naked short position or maybe a failure to deliver. Those are all naked shares that can be circulating through the market, right? And you could be holding those. Keep that in the back of your mind. So what he's based this off of is the 80-20 rule, essentially meaning that the 20% shows up to do the majority of the work in comparison to the other 80%. So the people who have voted so far are likely the people who have more vested interest in the stock, meaning they likely hold more shares. So keep that in the back of your mind. So using some freaking algorithms and some crazy math that I'm not intelligent enough to do, he put together a number, 1.48 billion shares, and this is based off of the average number of shares that Adam Aaron has stated from a while ago, 120 shares. Even if you took that number back to 100 shares, 90 shares, 80 shares, it still does not add up. The math does not add up, right? Now, do we need to know the exact number of shares that are out there? It would be ideal, obviously, right? But this is right in front of your eyes, and if Adam Aaron gets any sort of information that he can pull from this and report to the SEC, whatever it may be, this shows you everything you need to know, my friends. It absolutely 150,000 freaking Yakuman % does. So that's huge, right? 1185 is the average amount of shares being held by the 20%, essentially coming from that voting that's taken place so far. Then you've got that 80% with an average of 120, and that's where his math is coming from for 1.48 billion shares. Is this quantifiable fact? Is this absolute 100% fact? No, right? We don't know the exact number of shares that are being held by every individual investor on planet Earth in AMC stock. But we do know that just based on odds, based on analytics, based on data, based on literally algorithms that can put this stuff together, it doesn't add up because you have 500 million share free float, about 516 million shares outstanding. Doesn't add up. If it doesn't make sense, it's probably for a fucking reason. And you're seeing it right here. So if you want to check this out in more detail, I'm not going to read through this whole thing. That's not what I do, right? Just check it out in the description box and you can figure out the math and why I think this guy's pretty damn intelligent. So finishing off with the technical analysis, I want to give you two main takeaways. So in yesterday's video, like I said, I thought that the stock would pop down, and it did end up doing that. And we have a gap fill potential leading into tomorrow. In the very, very short term, my friends, I do think there's still downside here, and that's for main two reasons. The first one being we haven't quite filled this gap yet. Now, what is a gap? Essentially, when you have a super volatile move to the upside, right, it just blows up, like what you saw here up to $72. There's no support that gets built along the way, right? And you might think to yourself, technical analysis, following the line, yada, yada, yada. None of this stuff matters, but it absolutely 100% does, because you can think of all the malpractices, whether it be naked short selling, failure to delivers, XYZ, 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 that suppress the stock price. They get priced into the technical analysis. So essentially everything you've watched over the last couple of months, we don't live in a vacuum, right? We don't wake up one day and then all of a sudden the manipulation is there and the manipulation is not, and it's there and then it's not, and then it's not, right? It's all, you're watching what the stock does in terms of psychology on any given day based on every factor going into it. Technical analysis matters. So in that way, this sort of gap fill right here, where you have this huge volatile move, this is where you found the most level of support. And you can actually essentially draw this up just based on where you get the most sideways trading, and you connect candlesticks, right? So if you were to connect these right here, you can see this level of support just based on the fact that it bounced off $32. And then the bottom of this candle comes out to about 25 bucks. And this also lines up pretty dang well with where this stock actually popped up to in the pre-market back on January 27th. So you top that with the fact that we closed near the low of the day, or at the low of the day, dang near. I mean, it was super, super freaking close. We're actually going to check right now. Just missed it. So 29.81 and it closed at 29.84. That's also a bearish sign, which means in the very short term, I do think tomorrow is going to be bearish. But you can look at this two ways, right? You can look at it as unrealized losses, or you can look at it as an opportunity to buy a stock for cheaper if you have conviction in your trade. I'm not here to do that for you, right? I'm here to lay out what I think is happening on any given day. That's what I think you're looking at tomorrow. Ultimately, the financial responsibility and decision is yours. I'm just here to tell you what I think based on having watched the stock for 8 months. I'll always tell you how it is. I don't bullshit. If I think the stock's going to go down on any given day, I'll tell you. If I think it's going to go up, I'll tell you, right? I do think you have a little more downside left in this. So that is potential, but you will know if it does get a reversal, because you're going to get a push right back up above that $32 level of resistance that was previously support. And you'll know that it gets that clean break because an hourly candle will close above that previous level of support, now acting as resistance. So it essentially look like this. You're watching for this. If we were to exit this downtrend and find some sort of consolidation, you want a 1 hour candle that closes just like this above that level of support, and then does a little bit of this sideways trading or trend continuation over that previous level of resistance. So watch for that, right? That's the bull case scenario for tomorrow. But I do think in the very short term, you have to be ready for the worst case, which is that you do end up filling that gap down to 25 bucks. don't let that scare you, right? If there's any one thing I can pass along for the rest of this video, it's this. The only weapon that these hedge funds, the big firms, the fat pigs, all these cats out on their yachts and their freaking Lamborghinis, what they have against you is this: emotion, psychology. They've got the mainstream media. They've got all these news articles. They infiltrate the community and try and divide people away from each other. That's their weapon. That's their weapon. So if you can control this, the mind, you've got it. Because you know what this is. You know what this trade's about. It's about the shorts not freaking leaving. They could have covered at $8. They could have covered at $5. They could have covered 1,000,000 times by now, but they have not covered positions, right? This is about 2008. This is about fraudulence, malpractice, financial treason, honestly, just a crap ton of bad things that have happened in the stock market for decades and decades and decades, and it would have continued if the apes hadn't stepped in and said something. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't mortgage your house, pay your bills, feed your family, right? Keep the roof over your head, whatever it may be. That's most important first and foremost. But this stock, my friends, you know what this is about. Keep it up here. Keep it up here. Remember what's happening every single day is not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of the problem in and of itself. This is the most highly talked about and most traded stock probably in the last 3 or 4 months. It's not the apes. It's not the apes doing this. You already know that. I don't have to tell you that. You already know that. Watch the stock price, my friends. You know what this is. You know what this is, and that's what I've got for this video. So blah, blah, blah. Catch you on the next one. Light taps. Titan. Come here, buddy. Come here. Let's see if I can get his attention. Oh, he loves this. He loves this laser pointer. Come here, buddy. Hey. Light tap from me and Titan. Fun story about Titan, my friends. Siamese cats in Thai. Siamese cats means diamond moon or moon diamond. And I named him Titan, which is Jupiter's moon, only because I like Greek mythology. Well, I named him Titan and then later found out from some guys on Twitter that that's what that means. Yeah, his name literally means moon diamond or diamond moon. I was like, dang, if that's not a premonition, I don't know what is. So catch you guys on the next one. Much love, light taps always, and peace.